See? It's just a question of us utilizing our time properly. If we don't waste time and utilize it nicely, then there is time to do our morning program very nicely, to do our reading also nicely, to do our seva very nicely, our service, to sleep and take rest nicely, to eat properly. There is time for everything if we simply manage our time nicely and we don't waste time. And all these things can be done. And we can enthusiastically do whatever seva is given to us. Right? But if you find yourself really in a lot of strain because of it, you can always reveal your mind, but in a humble way. Reveal your mind, and then the authorities will consider the situation and see what can be done. Yes? But the attitude must be to want to do as much as we can in the situation. When we chant the holy name, we are asking Krishna and Srimati Radharani to engage us in their service. So when the service comes, then why should we refuse it? Isn't it? After all, we have come here to serve. Right? Why have we come to the ashram? To serve. And to become Krishna conscious, to serve Krishna. So why not take advantage of this and do as much as we can? So this is why we are here. Right? Makes sense? Any other question? Yes.
Life brahmacharya is quite restricted in terms of mind. It doesn't really have a chance to go there and there.
That's why it's happy.
Yeah, that's why it's always happy. That's why mind is always disappointed. Or kind of. The only thing in terms of sense gratification which is still presented as service to Krishna is to honor prasad. How to avoid all endeavor in this service so that you not to get lazy for next 2 or 3 hours afterwards.
An occasional feasting is all right. And occasional fasting is good. But rest of the time, eat as much as your body needs. As much as is necessary to keep your devotional service active. Not just to keep body and soul together, but as much as is necessary for your devotional service. In other words, for somebody who is doing a lot of physical work, for example, in some of our farm communities in India, we have devotees who do a lot of physical work. They have to dig, they have to carry, stones and bricks and make houses and clean the cow sheds and do agriculture and do many things which are very physically tiring. So obviously they need to eat more and they need to sleep a little more as well because of the nature of their service. So when you talk of eating only enough to keep the body and soul together, then for them it wouldn't match because they can eat lesser just to keep body and soul together, but to keep their service and their bhakti together in that situation, they need to eat more. They need to sleep a little more, not too much more, a little more. But for someone who may not need that, if the service doesn't really demand it, then we don't need to eat that much. If we are serving like Bhima, then we can eat like Bhima. If you're serving like me, you can eat like me. If you're serving like the other brahmacharis, you can eat like the other brahmacharis. Right?
Well, what senior devotees who come to our temple time to time, like the last one, Krishna Prabhu, he says,
Krishna Kripa Prabhu? Who is that from?
Boston.
American. It's American.
There's lots of Hainan.
Scientist.
He was serving with the Evac Spencer Institute for about 20 years or something. But there's lots of Hainan.
Oh, okay.
He was in the Brahmacharya glasses.
Oh, Krishna Kripa. Okay, okay, okay. I understand. Yeah. Okay, fine, yeah. Yeah.
He says, well, which is fair enough, that breakfasts are the most opulent in the sun, and we have these metallic plates which are supposed to be given for feasts, and we have them during the breakfast, and instantly it prepares your mind for big plate, which is more for feasting rather than for the breakfast. So how we can really avoid the trick of our mind to take anything and everything and to fill in this plate?
Well, the metal plate is not the problem. If you're just eating as much as is required for your devotional service, you're the best judge. You know how much you can eat and how much is needed for you to eat and what effects it has on your body and mind when you eat a certain amount. So in that sense, we are our best doctor. In that sense. So it's not really, it's quite alright, it's quite Vedic to eat in metal plates. It's not wrong. Provided even if you have a leaf plate, if you overeat, well, what can be done? Right? It's just a question of us learning to regulate and hear the signal of the body. When it's enough, then you stop. Actually, Prabhupada quotes Ayurveda to say that we should eat 50% of our stomach's capacity, 25% water and 25% air. But even if you want to have a full stomach, okay, so as much as the service requires. Yes, Sachikishore.
Generally, we encourage everyone to go through the Brahmacharya experience, and there are some that decide that they want to kind of remain Brahmacharya for the rest of their life. And some people say that generally that those that are perhaps more Brahminically inclined are those that perhaps can take that path. So I just wanted to get your perspective. Is that, like, especially if you're in a position where you're supposed to also encourage, someone's asking you whether I should, attempt to do Brahmacharya for the rest of my life, and perhaps someone doesn't have that Brahminical inclination. Should we encourage them, or is it safer that they take the other route?
Well, it's not necessary because Brahmanas also become Grihasthas. Generally, for a Kshatriya to become a Brahmachari is rare. There are cases, but it's not so frequent. Bhishma, that's why when Bhishma became a Brahmachari, he took a vow never to marry. That was extraordinary. Because he was a blue-blooded Kshatriya. Real Kshatriya. And for a person like him who was in the mode of passion, to take a vow of celibacy was something. That's why the demigod showered flowers from the clouds. He was earlier name was Devavrat, and now it became Bhishma, the one who's taken terrible vow.